Thank you so much. Welcome. My name is Joe Resendez, and welcome to the McMaster Symphony Orchestra. This is our final concert of the season. It's actually incredible that the year just kind of went by so quickly, and that we're here to sort of present our concert for you. Before we proceed, I want to take a moment just to recognize and acknowledge that McMaster University is located on the traditional territories of the Mississauga and Haudenosaunee Nations, and within the lands protected by the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Agreement. Like I said, it's always a pleasure to be back, and we thought we would present a number of works that had some more recognizable melodies, if you will. And this opening number is no short of recognizable if you are a fan of opera specifically. This is titled La Gazzellada by Gioacchino Rossini. It was premiered, in 1817, and it quickly captivated the audiences because of its sort of lively and engaging type music, as you kind of heard. Overture is particularly famous for the dramatic opening, featuring antiphonal snare drum, which you kind of heard in the back there, and sort of a military style sort of introduction. We thought that was kind of a nice way to throw at you a piece that you may have recognized or heard before. Has anybody heard the piece before or recognized this in the music? Yeah, a few hands, yeah. Okay, moving on, we're going to move on to the Hebrides Overture, otherwise known as Fingal's Cave, written by Felix Mendelssohn. It was composed and written in 1830, and it was inspired by his visit to the Hebrides archipelago, which is off the coast of Scotland, particularly, the awe-inspiring sort of scenic inspiration that he took from nature and from what he witnessed there. The idea is to sort of transport you through everything from the coastal waves kind of crashing against the rocks to the imagery around, to the cliffs and everything else surrounding the composition. You'll hear the music sort of evolve from something very simple in the low strings and then kind of take over with the rest of the orchestra. So here is, without further ado, Hebrides Overture. Thank you so much. Our next selection is also a familiar tune. A lot of us growing up in the 70s and 80s would remember sort of the Looney Tunes and Bugs Bunny and all those cartoons. And a lot of the music that we're featuring, some of the music we're featuring had actual national impact on those cartoons and the introduction of classical music to young kids and things like that. And this is no different. This had some sequences on different animated series and whatnot, but it's also known as the Sleeping Beauty Waltz. So anybody who's an enthusiast of classical music may have heard the waltz. It's one of the more famous waltzes written by Tchaikovsky. The idea of the ballet originated from the director of the Imperial Theatre in St. Petersburg. So this is the theatre that it was actually premiered at, in which it was later adapted to an existing fairy tale called La Belle au Bois Dormant, or The Sleeping Beauty in the Forest. He eagerly accepted this commission, or this idea, despite the lukewarm reception at the earlier start of the ballet. So it's kind of interesting how Tchaikovsky's work over the test of time became much more popularized in a lot of music and whatnot. In any case, he worked closely with a lot of choreography and the production. And it was lukewarm successful, but nevertheless it's become one of those staples in the classical literature. So without further ado, here is The Sleeping Beauty Waltz by Peter Ilyich Tchaikovsky. me for a second. This is Joel. Everybody, a round of applause for Joel. How are you liking the concert so far? Are you enjoying yourself? I gotta move over. You know, these grand pianos are wonderful, but I'll move over here. I'm very fortunate to have the opportunity to perform and premiere a lot of new works with not only the orchestra but the other ensembles that we have here at the School of the Arts and within our McMaster community. This composer is no stranger to us. He's written a piece for us for the last 2 or 3 years in a row, or at least within the majority of that time frame. And each time he's written some really unique things. And I'm not going to introduce the piece, but I will introduce the composer. You would have recognized him from last year and a lot of his work for us. It's been a lot of fun having the opportunity to not only work through his compositions, but to kind of hear his perspective, and also to, in this opportunity, to actually listen to him play a little bit. So can you please help me welcome to the stage composer and pianist, Yueng Chen.
Good evening, everybody. It's such a pleasure to share the stage with the most aesthetically appealing orchestra and conductor in town. So another round of applause for your wonderful McMaster Symphony Orchestra. So this piece, my Piano Concerto No. 2, is a piece composed actually specifically for the McMaster Symphony. And my background being mostly in popular music, soundtracks for TV and film, I love to incorporate catchy rhythms, very interesting melodies that will be easily accessible to listeners of all backgrounds. So I really hope you enjoy this piano concerto coming up. And I'd also like to welcome to the stage soloist Wing Yan Chen, who has put a lot of time into this concerto. So round of applause for her as well. And finally, before I finally relinquish the mic, I'd like to change the dedication of this piece. Originally, I had dedicated to the McMaster Symphony Orchestra and McMaster University, but I'd like to edit that and make it dedicated to Professor Joe Lasandes.
Thank you very much. That's tremendously kind. You know, it's always been a pleasure to work with you, and anytime you have a piece, you know where to call. So it's always fun. So thank you. I hope you enjoyed the piece. Another round of applause for our 2 soloists, which you haven't heard yet, but you're going to be amazed. But thank you all both for being here. And enjoy the piano concerto.